Hello and welcome to the 10 o'clock edition of News Tonight with me, Wadulo, Mark, Arnold, your news anchor, Mugalu, Mohammed right there on sign language. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines before we start with news in detail. In our headlines tonight, President Yoweri Museveni swears in 3 days' time. Furthermore, UPDF vows to resolve cattle rustling habits in Karamoja. And Lira women mark Mother's Day with a Myoga Bonanza. And in sports, Fort Portal City's Kings of Kings closer to the top. Thank you for joining us. We now give you the news in detail. In our top story, President Yoweri Museveni's swearing-in ceremony is due this week on Wednesday, 12th May 2021 at Kololo Independence Grounds, Kampala. The Minister for ICT, Judith Nawakova, urged the youth to shun away from any planned demonstration and warns that security is on standby. Let's hear her as she gives her weekly address.
All is set for the swearing-in ceremony of President Yoweri Museveni.
NRM won across the country at presidential, parliamentary, and local council levels with a convincing majority. The victory across all levels gives the NRM legitimacy over the next 5 years to continue shaping the transformation of our motherland, Uganda. The theme for the swearing-in ceremony is securing the future.
Although many could have wished to be part of the ceremony at Kololo Independence Grounds, it is an entirely invitation-based event, according to government.
Call upon all Ugandans to follow the proceedings of this function on their televisions and radios, since it is going to be broadcast live on all TVs and radio stations. Preparations are in high gear for this great day. And remember that 12th of May is a public holiday, meaning that people are not going to work. They will be at home watching and listening in to the proceedings of the whole event.
The event is expected to attract a number of heads of state and government dignitaries, ministers, members of parliament, local council leaders, among others. Government, however, sends a strong warning to those intending to hold parallel events.
The security forces are in high gear to ensure that there is peace and safety for all Ugandans. Those who are planning to attend that illegal swearing-in, I just want to warn you that please don't be party. Because we have only one president who was elected, President Yoweri Museveni. The rest are just comical. We don't expect any other swearing in. Of course, we've heard in the previous elections, people would organize such illegal swearing in ceremonies, but this time round, Ugandans stand warned that those ceremonies and those, organizations that are taking place clandestinely, the security forces are aware and they will not allow any event to take place contrary to what is official.
This warning has also been sent to youth who might be tempted to participate in unlawful activities during the national ceremony.
A riot is unacceptable and they will not be allowed. I've told you the security forces are alert. They are monitoring, they are patrolling, meaning that they are on ground to disperse any crowd.
Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
Now, furthermore, Uganda People's Defense Forces has confirmed that a total of 53 guns, 702 live ammunitions have been recovered in the year 2021 in Karamoja region under the disarmament project. In an interview with UBC, Colonel Henry Obo, the UPDF Land Forces spokesperson, confirms that also 400 suspects have been netted and are currently facing the law. Details follow.
The disarmament process aimed at restoring peace and order in the Karamoja region was initiated in 2001 but delayed until 2004 due to then Lordisi Resistance Army insurgents in northern Uganda.
The effects of the gun in Karamoja was not good at all. As you know, lives were lost, the roads were impassable because of ambushes and so on. A number of businesses could not thrive in the area simply because there was just nothing that could take off. Nothing could take off in Karamoja simply because of the element of the gun.
However, years down the road, the project has faced a few challenges.
We finally brought people like Aramtori who had his own legal system. He had his own courts where he could even sentence people to death, could sentence people to life imprisonment, and they tie him around some small house. So all those were brought back on board. And now things have changed. That's why you see the number of businesses now. Karamoja has been linked to the other parts of the country. Karamoja is linked now to the other parts of the country. Now the road is there, electricity is there. All this will not take place because if there were insecurity still there, the road constructors would not succeed.
For the year 2021 alone, guns, ammunition and herds of cattle with arrests have been registered, though not to huge proportions.
We have registered a number of achievements. For example, we have recovered up to 53 guns. 53 guns of different calibers were recovered, alongside 702 live ammunitions that could have been. So can you imagine 700 ammunitions all shot at a sudden, for example, towards the population? That is very, very dangerous. So we're able to pick those, but also together with that, a number of the people who were in possession of these ammunitions and who were involved in cattle rustling, they were arrested, about 408 of them.
The army is not only aiming at intensifying its operations, but also creating a rapport with community members.
The commander there, Brigadier General Balikudembe, has done and is doing a lot of works, leading his team there to do a great job in mindset change, talking to the people. It's not an easy process of changing the minds of the people to move away from that culture of weapons to more productive thinking, a progressive thinking, but through concerted and continuous talking, as well as showing examples, we are positive that one time we shall have the gun culture again in Karamoja.
However, the slow process on the Kenyan side and porous borders remains the major hindrance of the disarmament process and security threat on the Ugandan side. Robert Onyango, UBC.
Now, today being Mother's Day, social media platforms have been awash with pictures of mothers and messages in honor of their maternal bonds and influence on their children in society and generally. Now, it is with this noting that women constitute more than half of Uganda's population, including mothers, who are the lead co-creators of humanity. Let's take a look at how women in Lira marked Mother's Day.
Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms have been flooded by pictures and eulogies for mothers and great women who made significant contribution to the society. Reports indicate that 31% of households in Uganda are headed by women, yet they continue to face a wide range of challenges, including discrimination, marginalization and exclusion. According to the Global Gender Gap 2016, Uganda ranks number 61 out of 144 countries in terms of addressing the gender gap. Fiona Achiu is a nurse currently operating a drug shop at a Mocha Trading Center in Lira City West Division. She is a mother of one and had a lot of challenges accessing capital to boost her business. However, Fiona and her colleagues are currently very appreciative to President Yoweri Museveni for introducing seed money through the Myoga program.
Oh, this money is helping us too much. Clients used to come and ask for other stuff, but because of lack of finance, I couldn't afford to add those drugs.
Fiona is a member of a Rute North Local Leaders Circle in Lira District that received 50 million shillings through the Myoga.
President Yoweri Museveni is really helping my community because I have other children, other orphans, my mothers, my grandmothers, which I'm supporting them through the little profit I'm getting from this business.
The interest rate is fair and good to us compared to the other bank. So we want more. We want government to support us. If there are some funds which is coming, we still want to support our community.
A Myoga, which people thought was a dream, has become a reality. This place, Lira, is a very productive place. You find that Lira is a food basket for the whole country. The only thing which was missing was the money to activate the economy.
Not everybody has gotten resources of a Myoga, but of course the terms and conditions apply. It's not sectarianism, it's not anything, rather they that fulfill the obligations first, the requirements first, get the money.
In 5 years' time to come, we are looking at being a big bank, because now we are giving out money which is not enough. Others can ask for 5 million, but we limit them to around 2 million below.
After losing a lot of properties to commercial banks as collateral for loans they picked, local leaders through a Myoga program have provided ease of accessing capital for community businesses to accelerate economic development. Ediolua, UBC News.
He's officially launching. Thank you so much.
In another related development, mothers in Kampala have been honored with a sumptuous dinner as part of a Mother's Day celebration courtesy of Wadulo, Uganda, a fish farming company. Now, the Mother's Day special dinner, characterized by Uganda's freshest fish, was held at Lakabana, Kampala.
Ugandans across the country have celebrated Mother's Day. In Kampala, Wadulo, Uganda, a fishing farming company, hosted mothers to a special dinner at the high-end fine dining restaurant Lakabana. Wadulo is a Bantu word loosely translated as for today, a testament to Wadulo producing Uganda's fresh mint fish. The aquaculture company that prides itself in providing Uganda's freshest fish rewarded 5 customers, each with a sumptuous Mother's Day lunch to celebrate the special woman in their lives. Speaking to the Lankion, Catherine Twesije, Wadulo, Uganda's marketing manager, said having families treat their mothers to a special meal on a special day was a way of the company appreciating their customers.
Mother's Day should be that day that people actually take their mothers out. They deserve a break, like our mothers deserve a break. Like, why not get them behind the scenes, bring them out, make them feel special, treat them to the best meal in Uganda right now.
Twesije added that affordability is important to Wadulo, Uganda to ensure a fish per plate for every family member.
Everybody would also agree with me that mothers are always there with us. It doesn't matter whether you're going through like the hardest time or the best time, the small celebrations they're always there. So us at Wadulo, we just thought it best to actually reward those special people in our lives, like the mothers. Everybody, I think, has a sentimental something to do with their mother. Maybe
the families were chosen in an online mechanic that required one to follow Wadulo, Uganda's social media pages, comment on the post announcing the promo with a picture of them or their supermom enjoying Wadulo fish.
When they are still babies, if you call those young ones and tell them to greet you, they will kneel down. They cannot talk to someone, and like, you have to be there for these children.
I saw the challenge, is it? And on social media, like I said, on Instagram, and so I decided to join. So I put out my story, and yeah. Oh, it was about, because it was a Mother's Day challenge, yeah?
Wadulo, Uganda commenced operations in Uganda in 2019 in the freshwaters of Lake Victoria and has several retail outlets in Kampala, Wakiso and Jinja. Part of the company's mission is to contribute to solving the food security problem in the country by providing an affordable protein source in their fish. Story compiled by Kenneth Tanaba for UBC News.
Furthermore, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni joined Christians whom he described as prayer warriors for a Thanksgiving service to thank God for a peaceful election and great victory following the January general elections. The president was speaking during the National Thanksgiving prayers for the peaceful and victorious elections process organized by Pastor Patience Rawogo of Covenant Nations Church. The prayers held at Kololo ceremonial grounds were also attended by the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni.
A few days before the election, believers met here in Kololo, and they spent 3 days praying, interceding, repenting, and petitioning the Lord for a peaceful election and a victorious election.
When you pray before the elections, and God blessed us, now I'm also one of the lepers. We are part of the one leper who came back to thank. But I would also like to use this occasion to say, as some of the preachers were saying, yes, we have been fighting for a long time, making our own individual input, but there are many instances where you see that this was really God's work, or God's work.
Avoid evil. It seems when you avoid evil, God is happy with that, with what you are doing. Because evil involving stealing money, killing people, doing bad things, because I try my best to avoid evil. Because in the fighting, when we are fighting, we have a lot of power. We have a lot of power to do evil. You can kill people because we have guns. Even when we were fighting, we had guns. Even when we were on the opposition side. But that's why the NRA developed a culture of discipline, because I was always resisting temptations by people who want to take shortcut. I think part of what you call sin, mistakes, is caused by people who want shortcuts. They are essentially lazy. They don't want to be patient, to work for a long time. They think if you take a shortcut, you'll get good results faster. But that shortcut is a danger, because it will make you compromised, and you will no longer have the cleanliness within you to fight evil.
Heavenly Father, we're gathered here today to bring our praise, worship, and thanksgiving back to you for your great love, for your faithfulness and mercy towards us as the people of Uganda. Psalm 33 verse 12 declares, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his heritage." Indeed, we can all testify that because you are our God, we are blessed as a people and a nation. Father, let your presence remain with us, and may we find favor in your sight always. Let us always be your people, and may you always be our God. Finally, we pray that it will please you, Lord, to be our chief guest on our inauguration day, that you will take the highest seat of honor on that day. We give you preeminence and all the glory as your people. We invite your presence to come and be enthroned among us, always, so that other nations will now know that we are a people whose God is the Lord. We pray all this in the mighty name of Jesus Christ our Lord. And all God's people say, Amen.
Dismiss us with thy blessing.
Always nice to see the president share a smile right there. Now in more news, the resident district commissioner Chikube Amlant Masime has advised all construction firms that are operating in Bunyoro to always observe their cultural norms in order to succeed in their project. Now this was during an inspection by the Uganda National Roads Authority on the progress of the critical oil roads in Chikube, and that was observed by some contractors, and he observed actually rather that some contractors are not observing the cultural norms. These are the details.
Road construction firms in Bunyoro sub-region are being subjected to performing cultural rituals to avoid accidents occurrence on the road. The Uganda National Roads Authority area engineer Pade Ahimbisiwe says the area around Mukazi Mukulu and Musajja Mukulu was previously a black spot, but once the contractors performed cultural rituals, the situation was corrected.
There used to be a lot of accidents here, and they believe
they are annoyed.
They believe that because we have started working on the road, and these people are annoyed.
Yeah, they are annoyed.
But it didn't really disturb us so much. Actually, in all the swamps, we had to pay for that cultural rights for us to work in the swamp.
Lydia Alinda from the Uganda National Roads Authority said Musajja Mukulu and Mukazi Mukulu areas caretakers advised them to pay, and they obliged.
And it is believed that Musajja Mukulu is the king of all hills in Bunyoro, so that the other one is the wife. So it is believed that one day, one time they meet, and when they meet, they ignite fire. That's how the caretakers told us. So according to the history we were given, we have to observe culture according to how we know
the project was scheduled to be completed by April 16, 2021, but to date, they are yet to hand over the project, mainly due to a presence of a contested area.
Now, furthermore, the government's promise to improve service delivery has been boosted by provision of motorbikes to all districts to boost revenue collection department. Now, the handover of these bikes has been at 4 locations countrywide, with Mubende district being the dispatch center to 22 districts. These are the details.
Thank you for accepting to be here.
Chief administrative officers from 22 Uganda districts have convened in Mubende to receive motorbikes that are aimed at improving services at district revenue collection centers.
A number of challenges in the departments of internal audit and the Department of Revenue Management. You could see that there was limited revenue data collection, inefficient follow-up of supervision, records keeping, timely accountability of public funds. So we think that if these internal audit and the revenue collecting centers, departments are supported with these motorcycles, it will help with their mobility, transport, to move around, supervise. You know, when you supervise, you increase the performance across the district.
Ministry of Local Government Permanent Secretary Benjamin Kumumanya advised the recipients to use the motorbikes for their desired function.
As a government, we are not going to stop at collecting only. We want to collect, manage and account for those resources to be able to invest in service delivery. So we are happy as Ministry of Local Government because today we have operationalized what is in the Constitution in Article 176(2)(d). Article 176(2)(d) provides that there shall be sound financial resources to support local governments.
Each district, including Bundibujo, Bunyangabo, Kabarole, Kagadi and Kukumiro, received 2 motorbikes each, with these expected to also support district audit departments.
Now, research on genetically modified cassava at the National Crops Resources Research Institute at Namulonge has excited researchers. The genetically modified cassava has shown resistance to cassava brown streak disease and cassava mosaic, which are the major diseases affecting cassava. Let's take a look at these details and see what happens.
The ongoing research on genetically modified cassava at National Crops Resource Research Institute at Namulonge has yielded positive results in terms of fighting cassava diseases.
We are crying and yearning for our government so that it may pass through a law which supports the GMO cassava or the GMO system in our country, so that farmers at least may change their ways of living.
The genetically modified cassava has shown resistance to cassava brown streak and cassava mosaic diseases. Cassava brown streak disease causes rotting of the tubers, and cassava mosaic disease affects the growth of cassava leaves, leading to yield loss. Farmers from Wakiso district, with support from Science Foundation for Livelihoods and Development, visited National Crops Resource Research Institute's Archery to witness the harvesting of genetically modified cassava, which is still under confined field trial.
Based on what I have observed here, the scientists at Namulonge, they have discovered something that is very important to our farmers, because initially we have been having cassava plant being affected with cassava brownie wilt. That disease that affects crops, mainly cassava. It makes the leaves to fold themselves, and down there the roots cannot actually bring enough food. So many people in our region here, they are even abandoning planting cassava because of the disease. But what we have observed here, the scientists have come up with a disease that is resistant to diseases. Basically, that disease, once you plant it, it can be there from 1 year, 3 years, when it is not being affected.
The farmers are yearning to use agricultural technologies to improve the incomes of cassava farmers, but also ensure food security.
The lack of an enabling law has restricted our work within the research stations, and yet at this stage we should be out there working with farmers.
The principal investigator for the genetically modified cassava, Dr. Titus Alkai, says they are evaluating 60 different varieties of cassava. However, research on genetically modified crops is still under confined field trials, and the products cannot be released to farmers.
The acting director, Directorate of Industrial Training, Patrick Byakatonda, has issued accreditation certificates to the Church Girl Foundation Limited, Wandegea, to its director, Susan Makula. Handing over the certificate, Byakatonda said it is bound for everyone to have skills in the demand-driven skills, and called upon other religious leaders to embrace vocational training.
House of Prayer Ministries has initiated Church Girl Foundation Limited to help struggling women, especially single mothers. The accreditation of the institution is to enable youth attain professional certificates of skills which will enable them compete in the job market.
Here we have been handing over the certificate of accreditation. You know, DIT can accredit training institutions, centers, and companies as assessment centers. So the girl child here has been assessing accredited. We can now train, we can assess and certify the girl child.
Byakatonda noted that government is committed to ensuring that most of the country's population, especially youth, get demand-driven skills and have started penetrating into places of worship.
Right now, we have so many girls who have dropped out of school because of COVID, and their parents didn't have a chance or they didn't have money to take them back to school. But House of Prayer, through Church Girl Foundation, they are going to be funding every project that we are going to be doing that is skilling every girl. So the parents who are out there, you missed out, or your kids missed out on getting skilled or getting to senior 4, senior 6, please send them to Church Girl Foundation. They'll get the training, they'll get the skill, and they'll get the papers from DIT.
He urged Ugandans to utilize the available skilling programs by government and warned the youth from being used by self-seeking politicians. The director, Church Girl Foundation Limited, Susan Makula, urged youth to embrace skilling programs.
I'd like to thank DIT, that is under the Ministry of Education, for this great opportunity that they've given to us to train every girl out there. There are so many young girls who don't have the skill but would like to get a document, or those even who have the skill but don't have the professional paper to show that they have been trained. So DIT gave us an opportunity when we applied. Well, they verified and then were accredited to train not only the girls but even the boys to get professional documents from that is the workers pass to level 3, that is, which is equivalent to senior 6.
Efforts to instill financial management skills amongst Ugandan youth have gathered pace in Mukono district. This is through the Chaching curriculum project at schools through the Prudence Foundation in partnership with the non-government organization Junior Achievement Uganda.
It is all about good money management skills.
A new money financial literacy program called Chaching has been rolled out in selected schools across the country. It's a brainchild of Prudence Foundation, but is delivered to schools through a non-government organization, Junior Achievement Uganda.
The aim of this program is to see to it that young people start learning about money management skills at an early age, something that has not been taking place, but we feel with this initiative we shall take our pupils to the next level.
The initiative focuses on 4 values of earning, saving, spending and donating that the youth need to master early for financial prudence.
We also expect our teachers to learn to manage their funds. Some wait for the end of month, collect their money, spend it all. And the next day you find them borrowing, and then next time they get the money, they spend, pay debts without looking for proper ways of saving their money.
The latest of this project was at St. Agnes in Mukono district, where the school head teacher, Sister Rosemary Basemera, is delighted about the program's intentions.
Children always take it that they only have to receive, to be at the receiving end. But now, with this innovation, children will grow up knowing that they have to work in order to earn.
But though it's done in schools, it equips the learners with knowledge of financial matters that also need to be honed by parents through parent-child involvement in budgeting processes. The learners are optimistic of utilizing this program to better the future in a key area of financial literacy.
We have been with Chaching teachers teaching us how to, the 4 choices we can make with money.
I have earned my confidence because most of the times I used to hide when they call people to participate. I stay there, I hide myself, be with my friends who don't want to do anything. But today I have earned my confidence.
I've learned that when you spend a lot, you do not save.
The project will be spread out to the youth across the country as an empowerment to achieving a bright future. Mutonyi Helda, UBC.
Talk about financial literacy and saving, something that most of our young generation really needs. Let's now take a short break, and that will lead us into business. Come back soon.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
But you can access URA online. Why pay a visit?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Senchu points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
The Clerk to Parliament invites all members-elect of the 11th Parliament to collect their invitation cards. Cards should be collected on Monday 10th and Tuesday 11th May 2021 from the Parliament building between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. All members-elect are advised and requested to adhere to COVID-19 Standard Operating Procedures, SOPs, as they come to Parliament to collect their documents. Signed by Clerk to Parliament.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight. Now, whenever there are political campaigns, leaders make grand promises, and some of these are often documented in what is also known as a manifesto. Now, political parties come up with these documentations, which are also used as part of their campaign strategies. It highlights what a candidate will embark on once they give them the mandate. Now, how far these people go with the mandate they promise, let's find out.
A manifesto is a compilation of political policies and promises of an individual, a group of persons, or a political party seeking for support as a leader, mainly in leadership of a particular party or organization. It is also a comprehensive blueprint of commitments or promises to the population and target group, with the party or contender unveiling what is likely to be done once given mandate. The National Resistance Movement Party comes up with new plans alongside the running ones that they carry forward every 5-year period. Since 1996, NRM government is guided by 4 major principles: nationalism, socio-economic transformation, Pan-Africanism, and democracy. Of the 4 major principles of NRM, strengthening democracy has been paramount. For close to 2 decades, from 1962 until 1980, there had been no elective politics.
So the historical mission for NRM was deepening democracy, where people choose their representatives through a free and fair election.
The manifestos of 1996 to 2016 were dealing with situations then, regardless of differences at a time. Achieving sustainable peace, security and stability has been crucial.
By the way, every time you have a violent change, you have Ugandans becoming refugees. You have Ugandans being killed. Every time you have this violent change. So peace prevailing in the country, which is, you should also know, peace prevailing is the anchor of every economic activity to take place. You need this. So this is a major score.
Enhancing education and improving health infrastructure are some of the NRM's major milestones. Before universal primary education was introduced, enrollment was 2.5 million children. After the program kick-started, numbers dramatically jumped to 7.6 million.
Implying to you that had it not been introduced, almost 5 million students would never have seen the inside of a school.
Fighting poverty through the Bonabagagawale, Intandikwa, Women and Youth Fund programs are also at the core of NRM manifesto.
The numbers in 2001, 2002, the proportion of Ugandans who were below poverty line, who were really poor, were 56%. To date, you're talking about the percentage has been reduced from 56%. Right now, we're talking about 19%.
However, some of these programs left behind a lightweight footprint due to a shift in the manner of implementation and the immediate impact on the transformation of communities.
You need several development plans to attain that aspiration. You need a number of national budgets to attain it. But also, you need a great mobilization of the population to realize that you have a vision for them to get rich so that they wake up and work.
At least 80% of the African women's time is spent in collecting firewood and fetching water, mostly in rural areas where women trek kilometers to get water.
So poverty is intrinsically tied with releasing. Poverty is intrinsically linked to lack of access to clean and safe water, where women have to miles.
Socio-economic transformation, road infrastructure, and access to electricity are some of the key development trajectories of the national resistance movement.
Today, a combination of hydroelectricity with solar power distribution, where almost 50-something% of Ugandans have access to that electricity.
The Minister for Constitutional Affairs, Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, believes that though they would have wished to move faster, some civil servants are adamant to share the speed and commitment politicians have when implementing the manifesto.
That is one. Second, there is limitations in human capacity, limitations in the human resources.
Mindset change to get people involved in manifesto implementation programs is required through sensitization. Every year, the head of public service, Johnny Mitala, and his staff embark on costing the implementation of the party's manifesto, where every ministry gives accountability on the progress they have made. Mtonyi Hilda, UBC.
Now, COVID-19 has changed the world, quite literally, with masks becoming part of people's attire. Now, in the context are other personal protective equipment, such as gloves, face masks, face shields rather, protective goggles, hazmat suits, and hand sanitizers. But how and where are these materials disposed? Let's take a look.
Field, like you can see, and this is the only landfill in East Africa. It has been existing since 1996 and is the only place in Kampala where all the garbage from Kampala and all the nearby suburbs are allowed to dispose of everything that is called rubbish or garbage. In the wake of COVID-19, so many masks were given by the government of Uganda, but most of those were cloth masks. Amongst those are surgical masks that many people have been able to afford, and because they're only used once or twice. But coming to this place, we want to find out where these masks are disposed, what happens at the only landfill in East Africa.
Engeri gye bagamba nti zaali za bulwadde buli omu aba azeewala. Okitegeera. Naye obwo obugoye buba butono tebalina kirala kye basobola obukolamu.
Masiki ezo olumu na lumu tuziraba naye nga si nnyonnyonyo kubanga buli omu wano alina kigendererwa ekimuleeta. Osobola kukiraba naye otakitwala nga kikulu.
Everywhere you go, especially in cities and towns, you spot a face mask, a hand sanitizer bottle, or gloves carelessly disposed of. This is a bleak reminder of the current battle in a new world, where walking in public without a face mask is considered a crime and coughing or sneezing are frowned upon. As if Uganda was not already in enough trouble when it came to dispose of medical waste, COVID-19 presents a new nightmare. Dump sites in the Kampala suburb of Kitezi tell a story of a struggle not only against an invisible enemy but also medical waste. Efforts by the Uganda government on 10th June 2020 to offer free face masks to all Ugandans was a right move in managing the transmission of COVID-19 virus, but on the other side, has spiked the pace at which the environment is being destroyed and likely to cause a surge of new COVID cases if disposal of face masks is not well managed. The President, Museveni, informed Ugandans that wearing masks was mandatory, an act the security agencies in Uganda emphasized by policing, fining and arresting those that didn't heed to this new SOP.
People seem not to understand the value of the masks. These are not a decoration. We don't want you to be seen with a mask hanging around your neck. This is to stop you infecting other people. So the mask should be put on all the time.
But none of them emphasize the environmentally friendly disposal of face masks, which is now a time bomb on the environment and a recipe to a surge of COVID-19 cases. The COVID-19 virus is carried in the face mask, and if not well disposed of, garbage collectors stand higher chances of transmitting the virus. Everywhere in the streets of Kampala, pathways, in water channels and water bodies, face masks are carelessly disposed of. Some of the masks littered are made in homes, while others are made by professionals, but all fall short of embracing friendly environmentally disposal methods. With millions of face masks and PPEs improperly disposed of daily, experts have warned that the effects of this trend will be felt for many years to come. Since COVID-19 was first reported in China, several tons of face masks and other forms of PPEs have been dumped in the environment after use. Surgical masks, the most visible weapon in the war against the virus, are single-use, meaning they're disposed of frequently. These masks are the most commonly dumped in open areas and have drawn the attention of conservationists. These masks are non-biodegradable and will remain in the environment for a very long time, considering their production includes the use of plastics.
And that is why they need to be disposed of correctly. However, there is an attitude of irresponsibility in that many people expect other institutions to look after, the environment on their behalf. and yet this environment belongs to us all.
This will deal a blow to the government's step in banning single-use plastic bags, as well as single-use plastic bottles and straws in national parks, forests and other protected areas. The surgical mask sales surged, moving from just being used by health professionals to everyone that can afford them. They're mostly colored in blue, green, white and black, non-recyclable, and greatly contributing to a very vivid environmental disaster. Available statistics by UNBS indicates that 23.8 million disposable masks are being used daily in the country. This means that 714 million masks are being used per month. Considering cases that were first reported in March 2020, this mounts to several tons of plastics. An in-depth analysis shows that if 1% of face masks is not correctly disposed of, then 7.1 million masks are likely to end up on land monthly, with a bigger percentage in rivers and the lakes, mainly during stormwater runoff. If non-collected and disposed of properly, the masks will clog drainage systems and lead to flooding during rainy seasons, while several tons will end up in the rivers and the lakes. It is estimated that every year some 13 million metric tons of plastics enter huge water bodies like oceans. Around 150 million metric tons of plastics circulate in the marine environment. The World Economic Forum estimates that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Chinese firm leader, the biggest in Africa, was given the right to manufacture face masks. But the question is, where do these face masks go after use? This is not only the problem. The situation has been made worse by garbage collectors and recyclers who fear getting infected with COVID-19 while handling waste and end up dumping it in open places. Inasmuch as they wear masks, at the backset of their minds, money first and their health comes in the second position. While this work is traumatic, unhealthy, and many of the people that sort garbage say are very used to this activity, their hearts skip whenever they come across these used masks. With recycling in place to curtail the number of plastics in Uganda, many companies buy plastic from the sorters for their business. Nevertheless, none of the collectors are interested to collect face masks because it doesn't pay off.
Plastic nga kino kintu kya gundi kino gundi ono muno mugiramu oba blue band oba biki ebyo tubijjamu obudomola obubadde mutubujjamu naye ebisigadde nga olaba bino ebivunda tetulina porogulamu eyo kubanga tetwagala kintu kye tukola nga tufunamu akasente eyo tetugirina tulondamu bino ebigenda bino ebirala.
Countries like France and South Korea decided to recycle disposable face masks to make products like chairs and a vast array of different objects. But here in Uganda, that's not the case. This still hangs in the balance for Ugandans, given that even separating waste is always done at the landfill in Kitezi. But what does NEMA, the lead agency that deals with the management of the environment, say about face mask disposal? The Kampala Capital City Authority also has a role to play in ensuring environmentally friendly disposal of face masks and other garbages are well done. But the Director of Health Services at KCCA, Okello, seems to concede on the lapses within the management of garbage disposal in the city.
So we are told people how to segregate it because it is potentially infectious waste, but not many people have done it, and we have seen it as part of domestic waste. So it comes as part of the waste that's coming from homes. Now, at times as part of our garbage, it can be in terms of skips. So when you're carrying the skip and it is full, getting to know what is underneath and what is in the middle above becomes very difficult. So we are backing more on health education to ensure that people can either bag them, such that even when they are bagged, you put them in a small polythene, they are not capable to transmit it. So the ideal would be to collect it, take it through a medical waste system and burn it.
Sharon Chomjisha, UBC.
Now, in a related development, as India's export ban results in COVAX supplies drying up, African countries have been scrambling in a desperate attempt to find alternatives. The second shot is proving difficult, and most African countries rely on COVAX, the World Health Organization's program, built to ensure poor countries have equitable access to vaccines to combat the pandemic for their vaccine supply. The main supplier, the Serum Institute of India, produces the two-shot AstraZeneca vaccine, but increased domestic demand for doses in India, where the pandemic is currently surging out of control, has interrupted supplies being flown out for COVAX. Let's take a look at the details.
Pandemic one. Second, now we are having a challenge in front of us is working and COVID support. When the people need personal protection, kids and people need safety measures, people need a protocol, how to go ahead with the medical treatment, how to prevent infection in their small clinics. The third, there are a lot of policy discussions, policy decisions, some of the things we need to appreciate with the government, some of the things we need to oppose the government. So that is becoming a challenging working pattern in the Indian Medical Association in this pandemic.
And in the world of sports, action in the Federation of Uganda Football Association's Women Elite Leagues has entered March Day 2 with action at the Fufa Technical Center in Jeru. In some of the action, Kings of Kings from Fort Portal City triumphed 2-0 over Luwero Giants Queens, courtesy of a brace by Sharon Kanyijina. The goal ensured Kings of Kings go to the 6 points atop of a group and thus through the quarterfinals with a game to spare. In the other game played, Asubo Gafford Ladies and Dynamic Women Football Club shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw. Claire Namatovu scored for Asubo Gafford, while Aisha Namukaya's late equalizer ensured that these two teams end in a stalemate. Action takes a rest day on Monday before the final group games on Tuesday, in which Gaffords will play Luwero as Kings date Dynamics SSS. This Women's Elite League is played in 4 groups, with the top 2 teams qualifying for the top-tier Women's Super League. And then in a new development, Uganda has witnessed its first archery championship in a decade. This was in action at the Nile International Hospital Archery Invitational National Championship in Jinja that attracted more than 30 participants, some as young as 6 years old.
Passion, zeal and determination were on show as Uganda's finest archery players convened at Nile International Hospital Jinja for the Nile International Hospital Invitational Championship.
Archery is very important sport and cool sport to focus to something. That's why if you are performing archery, really it will affect your study also and your lifestyle also. Yeah, that's why. And we wanted to support the federation and liaise with them and get some opportunity for this organization. And I am very happy. I am very happy to now we are here. This is a very good event, and I am hoping July we shall have another one, and I am hoping we shall have many athletes, and we shall see them in the future in the Olympic.
This was Uganda Archery Federation's first activity in more than 5 years. It was contested in 3 categories including men and women, over 15 and 30 meters. Archery is an Olympic sport that was introduced in Uganda in 1988 and is won by the player that accumulates more points, as explained by Chula Venatius.
All right, so what actually happens is that for the sport of archery, for you to acquire maximum points, you have to hit the bull's eye. Now the bull's eye is 10. So you start shooting from the middle going upward. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and then you continue. So what happens is that each player has a maximum number of 18 arrows to shoot. So all the different points are added, and then we are able to get the person with the highest point.
In the 15 meters category, Definer Demir beat Agawa Miracle and Yagmar Demir to the top prize. In the 30 meters male event, Hassan Babu bettered others like Elijah Mogenya and Solomon Semokete in a contest he believes lacked competitiveness, but is welcome, especially amidst the pandemic.
It's not a big challenge today. I have not been challenged very well, and I hope we improve on the challenge, and I want to make it better because the way I won wasn't comfortable enough.
In the women's 30 meters, Doreen Natukunda emerged victorious, but after a tight challenge from others including Martha Chokusima and Charity Chisache.
First of all, if you ever want to do something, go for it. You can do it like I did.
The tournament was graced by Busoga Kingdom's Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Joan Kito, who was impressed by proceedings.
Like now, COVID has been a big issue. Children have not gone to school. I think this would also be something good for them to pass time. You understand it, but also you are passing time. Instead of going out for ganja, instead of going for matatu, instead of going and, becoming criminals on the street.
Uganda Archery Federation is optimistic that this tournament starts good tidings for the sport that is intent on spreading countrywide. John Barnes, Centum, reporting.
And that brings us to a humble conclusion of the news tonight, this 9th day of May 2021. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at the headlines before we sign out. In our headlines tonight, President Yoweri Museveni is swearing in 3 days' time to come. UPDF vows to resolve cattle rustling habits in Karamoja sub-region. In another development, Lira women mark Mother's Day with a Myoga Bonanza. And in sports, Fort Portal City's King of Kings closer to the top. With all this said and done, allow me to advise you, picking from one of the stories we just did. How well do you dispose of your mask? Well, if you know that you have permanent ways to dispose of this mask, then do so. But if you don't, then make sure you dispose it off in the right way. Place it in a dustbin or something and then close it up, tie it up, and make sure that the right authorities are going to take it to where it has to be. If you do not have, then call on your leaders to put these facilities in place. Otherwise, thank you for joining us. My name is Wadulo Arnold, Mugalu Mohammed on sign language. Allow me to smile with a good night.